Alright guys, so Fool will come to you with another video. If you want to like and subscribe, it's always by choice, never by force. I'm not gonna twist the issue about subscribing to the page, but anyhow, I want to go into some things right now, some boxing news that's related to things outside of the ring. So it was brought to my attention on my Google search when I just opened Google up that Jermall Charlo is facing robbery charges based on a little outing he had at a restaurant. I guess he was having like a private turn up, and there was some altercations that happened in that turn up that led to robbery charges. So I'm gonna try to keep this as like transparent as possible. I'm gonna try to keep it as, balanced as possible. Everybody knows that I don't rock with the Charlos. I don't. I mean, I can say I do respect Jermall to a certain extent for chasing Undisputed, but other than that, I don't rock with the Charlos. I think that they are fake thugs, fake gangsters, and also I just think that they're basic fighters in terms of style. I don't really rate their style that much. I think both of them are pretty stationary, and that they're not really technical, so to say. So anyhow, it seems that Jermall Charlo was arrested for, they're saying robbery. And they're also saying that the waitress there also suffered some injuries from his entourage, right? So there's a couple of scenarios that I believe happened. The first scenario is I think that these charges may be trumped up charges, and they're just trying to I guess you can say over exaggerate what really happened, right? And it also could be a case of the woman there looking for a come up too, the waitresses. So it could be some exaggeration there, maybe. I'm not quite sure. But at the same time, I wouldn't put it past him to do foolish things like this, because of the simple fact that the Charlotte sisters in general, they're pretty much I want to say wannabe gangsters. They walk around acting like they're hard. They walk around thinking that they're that their shit don't stink. That's how they walk around. They walk around with their nose up at people. Although I don't really care. I remember after Spence, the Earl Spence fight with the Earl Spence and Sean Porter fight, I was there. And I remember completely that, I want to say that the Charlos were very dismissive. I just just said, what up? I didn't say, oh my God, it's the Charlo twins. I didn't even ask them to get a word or anything, because I read the energy and I realized, okay, let me not bother them. You know what I mean? Let me not just ask them about things or upcoming fights and stuff like that. So I just left it alone. I said, okay, cool. But yeah, even in that process, they were just really just dismissive. They were just very, I want to say, just nose up at you, things like that, right? So that's just their demeanor in general. That's just how they move, right? They move like that. That's just something that they do, right? So it's not, so in a way, it wouldn't surprise me if he did do something like this out of possibly a drunken fit of rage. And one thing, I'm not trying to jump to conclusions. Don't get it twisted. I'm not trying to like jump the gun or anything like that. I'm just trying to like put things together to make it make sense. Okay? The thing is maybe perhaps the money was in the credit card, but or the credit card had the available funds needed to pay for the tab, but maybe there was something wrong on their end. Who knows? But at the same time, the reason why I can't put it past them to do these things is because, and I'm not saying that they're juiced to the gills. I'm not saying that. Don't get it twisted. I'm not assuming that they're juiced, but I'm just saying that things can add up and make sense. Number one, you know, these guys have missed like VADA testing, like off fighting VADA testing. They've missed it a couple of times. Okay. Number two, one guy even said that Jermall Charlo was on coke. A fellow Texan said that, you know, and I don't know. Maybe that could translate to the brother also being on some kind of substance. You never know. I don't know why that guy would just make that, like, say that if there wasn't any like truth to them. Because you have to remember what Jermall Charlo did, talking about Deontay Wilder, talking about he got shooters, talking about all kinds of crazy stuff. You know, he's been talking crazy before. So, I mean, I can't really not put it past him to be doing something like that. You know what I mean? And a lot of these, I guess you could say, pro-black channels are going to come at me and say, oh, you're just hating. Oh, you just don't like them because they're black. And mind you, I'm a black continental African myself. But they throw that out the window. But these channels are going to come at me. I understand. And most of the channels are going to be the LGBTQ, of course, and the like thereof. Because, truthfully speaking, as it stands, some of these like boxing groups will cap for fighters when they do things like this. You know, they'll cap for them. They'll say, well, you know what I mean, he was just having a good time, or he you know what happens when you get drinks in your system, or you know, they'll say things like that. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, you can go ahead and support them. That's fine, you know. But the thing is that with me, I don't go off of a fighter's ethnic background. I'm going to support a fighter in regards to their style and in regards to like what they bring to the fight game and whatnot. And ethnic background doesn't matter. If you're skilled, you're skilled. But if a fighter is like intentionally being frozen out, and if a fighter is not getting the fights because of certain matters, like, you know, perhaps their ethnic background, that's why we spoke out against we spoke out against the judge, the corrupt judge who was racist, right? So I am going to speak on the manners where right is right and wrong is wrong. So I say that to say, because simple fact, everybody knows I rock with Haitians. Everybody knows that I'm pretty much an honorary Haitian at this point. But when I found out that Jean Pascal, right, that Jean Pascal, the light heavyweight, when I found out that he was juiced to the gills, I unfollowed him right away. I said, nah, I can't follow him now. This dude got caught cheating. It's like, nope, sorry. Can't be supporting that. Can't be supporting a cheater, regardless of his Haitian Canadian background. So I go off of that, right? Go off of actions. So when I look at the Charlo's actions, both of them, they've just been the actions of fake thugs. They've just been the actions of guys who try to play tough, try to poke their chest out, rather than, just stay down and do their thing. I understand that you want to trash talk during a fight. I get that. You're trying to build up the fight. You're trying to pump up the fight. Things like that. I get that, okay? However, I don't get when you talk about, for example, when you talk about fighting someone and you have no intention of fighting that person. I don't get that, right? And this comes from Jermall Charlo with Demetrius Andrade. This comes from Jermall Charlo with Demetrius Andrade. This comes from Jermall Charlo with David Benavidez. Now you have Jermall Charlo talking about he'll knock out Caleb Plant. So you have all of these things, and there's no intention of them fighting, these guys. You know what I mean? A fight with David Benavidez could have been made by now. You feel me? But again, it was just like talking. It was just flapping of the gums, really, when it came to the Charlos, right? So I say this to say that, for example, and I heard this from Demetrius Andrade's father myself. I got this straight from Demetrius Andrade's father. But one of the arguing points of like Jermall and Jermall Charlo fans against Demetrius Andrade is that he pulled out of the Jermall Charlo fight. Ronnie Shields, who I believe is a yes man coach, Ronnie Shields even said that, Demetrius Andrade ducked Jermall Charlo, right? But when I talked to Demetrius Andrade's father, and this does make perfect sense. This makes perfect sense. There was no fight signed and sealed in regards to him fighting Jermall Charlo, because when you look at it, they said he pulled out a week of the fight. I think they said, oh yeah, he pulled out a week before the fight started. However, when you really look at it, and this makes perfect sense, how could he pull out a week when the fight started, when there was no press conference, there was no build-up for the fight, there was no Showtime special for the fight, and things like that? So that means that there was no fight scheduled, which makes perfect sense, because when you think about it, if there was a fight scheduled, there would be some build-up, there would be some like back and forth, there would be something like that, but that was never the case, right? So I was told that Demetrius Andrade actually signed his deal. He signed the contract for Showtime to fight Jermall Charlo. However, they didn't sign to make the fight happen. That's what happened. But you wouldn't know that because people from these certain boxing groups have been fed this narrative that, that they pulled out. And the thing is about, for example, I don't care if you're a Charlo fan and things like that. I really don't care, but sometimes people be blinded by fanboyism so much that they will overlook some of the stupid stuff that they do. You know what I mean? Like it's for me, sometimes I just have to say, bro, you do you, but at the same time, it's like, okay, bro, it kind of says something about your character, right? That you're overlooking the stupidness of certain things that he does, right? So I'm just like, okay, well, it is what it is. I'm not really, how should I say, tripping that much over it. But it gets to a point where you're like, okay, bro. Hold on just a minute. I'm like doing something, but it looks like I can't do it. This LA traffic, bro, will make you do some crazy things sometimes. But anyhow, it's like I've never been one to be so blinded by fanboyism that I overlook ignorance. You know what I mean? Like, if you're doing ignorant stuff, you do ignorant stuff regardless. If you're a fighter that shares my ethnic background or whatnot. It's just ignorance is ignorance, bro. And I'm not gonna be one to like stand for the ignorance. You feel me? Like, so when I look at some of these Charlo fans and stuff like that, they actually stand for this madness. They actually stand for like this, like these shenanigans, right? So the point I'm trying to make is that, and I'm not saying, and by no means am I saying that, am I calling boxers role models? I'm not going to call a boxer a role model, because at the end of the day, like, a boxer is in the business of beating people up. Like, you know, who would want a role model like that, right? What I am saying, though, is that they have kids, like the Charlos have kids, right? And do they really, is this the example they want to set for their kids? Is this the example that he wants to set? Is doing this? You know what I mean? If it is true, we don't know if it's true yet. But that's what I'm saying. It's like, okay, bro, like, was that really necessary? And then one thing I will say too is that my thing is, if one card didn't go through, I'm pretty sure you're well paid and well off enough that you'll have another card, right? You can use another credit card. You don't have to use the same card. There should be another one available, right? I'm pretty sure that there's an ATM in the restaurant and you can just withdraw the cash that way, right? There's many other options for you. There's not that you don't have to lose your temper if he did. I'm not saying he did, but you don't have to lose your temper if you didn't have the money. You know, you don't have to do things like that. But, you know, it is what it is with these guys. I've been basically through with them. And we'll just have to wait to see what happens. I think the next person that Charlo will fight is Amando. I don't think he's going to fight anybody of importance, really. But thing is I'm going to end it on this note. To all the Charlo channels and also the Texas people and stuff like that, when you guys fault like different fighters for doing certain things, keep that same energy for your hometown fighters too. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying about it. But, you know, that's all I gotta say about it, man. Yeah, I just don't. I really never gel with people who try to put on the like fake tough guy image and things like that. I just don't like it. It's just corny to me. You know what I mean? And that's what the Charlos try to do. It's like, okay, bro, give me a break. But man, that's all I got. Let me know what y'all think about this. Again, I'm not saying that this is all accurate, that he tried to rob or anything like that. I'm not saying it. But I'm just saying, if he did, it wouldn't surprise me. But anyhow, Fuller signing out. I'm John.